Yes, we can finally put the past behind us with the new 2017. Full list of topics in the description with timestamps because you're gonna be here for a while. I'm not sure how much editing will go into this, but if you ever hear a ring sound effect, like so, then that means I'm commenting on a specific image. I previously did a gloomy video that apparently YouTube didn't like because, hey, look at that yellow! I'm assuming it's a Mob Psycho images that scared somebody, I guess. But anyways, this is about the 5th time I try to make a video about something, but the sound quality kept bothering me. So I spent $100 on a new mic, so things should clear up within a week or two. Usually in these types of videos, people make resolutions or something, but those things never work out for me. I do have plenty of goals on what I want to do, but I also feel like sharing things after this. After all, this is the anime experience too, where it's all about sharing. As you can deduce by the title, I'm gonna talk a bit about my favorite anime and some other works of animation. I'm not gonna rank them, but I think there should be 10. I do want to compare and contrast like usual. So you'll see how my interests have changed, how certain shows change, what new stuff I got into, and maybe insight on future projects. So, let's get the obvious thing out of the way, first being Dragon Ball. Originally, this series is what drew people to my channel as I was doing reviews of the movies, which I need to redo at some point in my life. As the years went on, my interest in Dragon Ball keeps fluctuating up and down. One reason why it remains in my possible top 50 favorite anime is because of the Dragon Ball fans I get to talk with. Since many people are familiar with this series, it's very easy to start a conversation and discover what makes Dragon Ball interesting. But what kills my interest is Dragon Ball Super. I just don't feel engaged on topics of who can beat up anyone anymore. That's what people would talk about in school cafeteria and the courtyard, but as I got older, power and action haven't been my priorities, especially when it comes to Dragon Ball, and maybe shonen in general. Which I know it sounds kind of ironic, hypocritical, as the main appeal of a battle shonen are the fights and the action, but lately it just hasn't made me feel danger, especially when Goku has been really dubbed down to a freaking comical idiot, and the tone itself is more kiddie than ever. An easy example is the recent Trunks vs. Amozu, which feels really corny with a bunch of people of "let's fight together, don't give up Trunks, justice!" Which obviously those are traits and good morals for a shonen to have, but I never felt this type of heroism in Dragon Ball. I know Toriyama's not really involved in the current series, but something about Super just doesn't feel right. But like an abusive relationship, there are times where I get a taste or a tease of interest, such as the return of a couple of characters, and now it comes down to whether this new arc pays off or gives an underwhelming experience. Getting back to what I said earlier about ups and downs, I felt a bit relaxed and intrigued when I was working on the top 25 manly anime characters, which I started with number 18. It just felt refreshing to work on a project, which I know is going to take me years to finish, but I feel good. And somehow I sort of gained an interest on talking about 18, a character I never really went deep into, nor do I think she's been a popular topic when it comes to debating, dissecting, analyzing, whatever. Most of those videos are focused on main characters, aka the guys, and other story events. So I felt proud to begin this list with this character and made me think that maybe I could go into more detail with other characters of Dragon Ball, but I'll wait and see. Currently I've been wondering where Dragon Ball belongs in my list of favorite anime, and so far I think being number 50 is okay. It's a series that got me into anime and I still enjoy it, but not as much. It's quite odd as I think I enjoy talking about the series with other people more than actually watching the anime or reading its manga. One possibility is that maybe I got tired of seeing it as I grew up with the entire Dragon Ball trilogy being Dragon Ball, DBZ, and GT, all of it in Spanish dub about 3 times from start to finish. Then years later I saw it all in English, and again in Japanese when Dragon Ball Kai was a new thing, and of course the current Super in Japanese, and possibly watched it all over again, this time in English dub. Oh yeah, I read the entire manga one time. So, yeah, I guess my exposure to Dragon Ball is a unique one. There is also a good chance I might have to make a follow-up video given how 17 and 18 will supposedly be involved in the next Super arc. We shall see. Well, I'm kinda the subject of manly characters, so number 23 should come either this January or February. I don't know when, but I do think with the way I'm editing things, you might see a new character every 2 to 3 months, until I finish the entire 25-member roster. But enough Dragon Ball and onto more familiar territory, or should I say, a series I should be talking about more, but I don't, being Fists of the North Star. I do have the audio ready for the new Fist review, but I've been distracted by other uploads that I rarely edit this video, but it will come out eventually. I am rereading Fist of the Blue Sky manga, so that is definitely something I want to work on. Even after many years since that initial video of Fist of the North Star review, it still remains as my favorite series. Unlike Dragon Ball, I know exactly where Hokuto no Ken stands among my favorites. That was a joke. Anyways, while there hasn't been any material the year 2016, there was a lot of news for this series as the two that caught my attention was some new artwork, one being a support for our baseball team and the other, well, just look at it. This was Tetsuo Hara's attempt to draw guts, but all I see is Kenshiro carrying the Dragon Slayer and wearing the Berserker armor. So it's all good. I do want to talk about characters of this series along with an analysis of the entire manga and its 1984 adaptation, but I should finish reviewing every single anime series before I even attempt that. Yes, this series is still my favorite and I feel bad for not talking about it as much as I should. There will be new Hokuto uploads this year in 2017, I just don't know when. However, I have a little consolation. Hopefully I'll review Flip Flappers pretty soon, and in that anime, specifically episode 3, you will get a cross between a magical girl set in the world of Mad Max, plus some obvious reference to Fist of the North Star. So enjoy that, and also if you haven't already, watch SNK's everyday videos of Fist of the North Star retrospective. They're very good. Let's swap it up a bit with cartoons. I got into a couple of things this year with my favorite probably being Clarence for how kitty it is. Then again, there's also Mighty Magiswords, which the pacing for that show is super fast and a bit unbalanced. I really like the characters, the Warriors for Hire, Prohias and Vamber in their attempt to run their family business of doing odd jobs via magic swords. It's episodic and there's a lot of material for this show as the series has a bit old webisodes where before it got greenlit for a televised show, various minisodes on the Cartoon Network YouTube channel, and vlogs done via improv. I like it, and of course, Vamber is the best, aka Lena Inverse, their older sister. Oh yeah, back to Clarence. It's a very kid-friendly show, with the exception of that one masturbation joke that I noticed. It's pretty harmless. I'm more surprised how serious it can get with a personal growth. Yeah, most episodes are fun from the perspective of children, such as the epic fantasy water balloon fight, but then there's episodes which talk about confronting stage fright, shyness, getting along with your siblings and cousins, and even something basic such as dealing with your friends moving to another school or to a different state. Very early on, there's a brief mention of a character who speaks of her parents going through a divorce and being unsure who she'll end up with, and she has this very likable design and very main character-ish, and that's the only time you see her. Of course, Clarence is mostly about harmless fun and sometimes surreal art, but whenever it gets serious, I always feel surprised. And usually these types of episodes are from the kid, Sumo's perspective, who is voiced by Tom Kenny. I find it fascinating for he gives the appearance of being the most rebellious and immature of the trio of friends, but secretly, he probably is the most mature character in the entire series, adults, teachers, and parents included, and while I really like the innocence of Clarence, I'm a bit worried for Jeff. There are times when I'm thinking, is he really a nice kid? Is he really your friend? And I guess that's the point of his conflicts in the episodes centered on him being less of a selfish boy. One more cartoon before I swap back into anime, and that would be Batman Brave and the Bold. Something about this year, well, worldwide actually, superheroes are becoming more popular, especially with One Punch Man and My Hero Academia stirring things up. And 2017 will be the premieres of Tatsunoko's Infinity Force and Stan Lee's involvement with the anime Reflection. But back to Batman, I just feel intrigued to watch the various other animated versions of him. Similar to my experience with Dragon Ball, I was just way too familiar with Batman the Animated Series, and I have the entire thing in my room along with Justice League Unlimited, Superman the Animated Series, and Batman Beyond, and I just wanted to watch something else. Enter Brave and the Bold, and I quickly grew into its campy setting. To be honest, Brave and the Bold is very much another Justice League series given how many characters, obscure and popular, appear in the show. And it does take a bit for more known Batman villains to show up, just like Clarence, it's not all comedy and action. Of course, people are gonna bring up the episode Chill of the Night, but there's actually other serious episodes within Brave and the Bold. I can't remember the titles from the top of my head, but Ring. And now the screen should have a list of episodes. Actually, the ending of Brave and the Bold made me feel really sad, especially when there was nothing else like that show. Well, until Return of the Cape Crusaders, which was probably the best DC movie of the entire year. Given the negative reception of recent dark and edgy superhero films, I'm guessing for the next couple of years, we're just gonna see a lot of campy or lighthearted DC, hence the Lego Batman movie and Justice League action. But other Batman shows such as The Batman, Beware the Batman, and Batman Unlimited. I'll start with Unlimited first since it's the shortest of the bunch. Actually, no, that would be Beware or whatever. Unlimited is the most kiddie of the bunch with the emphasis of selling toys, but it has that camp and outrageousness of Brave and the Bold, but the characters themselves are kind of shallow. A recurring trend in Unlimited is focused on action and sci-fi robot weaponry, aka toys, so you will see every character have some sort of prop, gimmick, or maybe a stylized gun, a car, or very ridiculous things like the Penguin's own monocle having a computer on his left eye, or my favorite, Batman riding a robot T-Rex that shoots lasers! If you watch the movies, you may have some fun in how ridiculous it is, but what makes it shallow for me is that it's trying to be cool, not edgy, just straight up cool, so the characters don't feel like people when they try to act like people, or it just comes off as generic and bland. Well, unless they're trying to tell you a funny joke. Also, it constantly dates itself with its overabundance of technology, where it seems to have this Batman Beyond setting, but with a modernish characters still wearing the traditional outfits. But of course, citizens are taking selfies and stuff like that. However, the current Unlimited are interesting as they are 2-minute shorts with almost no dialogue, acting as a silent action cartoon. And from my experience on their YouTube channel, they don't even bother putting ads in their videos, which surprises me. Okay, Beware the Batman is not a bad show, but it felt like it got cancelled just when you got comfortable to its characters and setting. It's basically a very serious show starring a very no-fucks-given Batman, basically how he was in the Red Sky portion of the animated series. It's definitely dark and gritty and action-heavy, so I don't understand why people dismissed it right away, especially given the rants people are making now with recent Cartoon Network activity, especially when they're lacking action stories. Back then, people complained about the changes to CG, the lack of mainstream villains, but if you stick around long enough, it just got better with every episode, even ending a finale with Deathstroke and Harvey Dent, and it would have been interesting to see where it would go. It was very likely that it would have eventually gone into more popular villains, but besides people's criticisms and some things behind the scenes of the production of the show, it just got axed. It just got too much hate. I do have my own criticisms on the characters in the show itself, but it's nowhere near as bad as people claim to be. Not the best show, but definitely seemed promising. As for The Batman, as seen on Kids WB, remember that channel? I saw a lot of this when it first aired on TV, and I was going to watch this from start to finish, but I just wasn't in the mood, so thoughts of this version are put on hold. From what I do remember, the action was good, but not sure about its characters. Yeah, I agree with the complaint of the Jackie Chan Adventures designs being used on this cast, and yeah, Bruce Wayne could have looked a lot better. In fact, even the choice for the Batman voice probably could have used a different direction. Or recasting. Not bad acting, but probably miscasted or misdirected. And back to anime, let's keep this brief with Lupin III. Nothing happened this year. Oh wait, yes it did. It was the Italian Game TV special. Do yourself a favor and do not bother looking for this thing. It's raw anyways. I might make a video for it just to show some brief footage, but you're better off watching the opening of the Italian Game, for it's way more interesting than the entire special, which mostly consists of episode footage of the Blue Jacket series with only about 20 minutes of new material, so it's not worth the hassle. The other thing that came out in 2016 were 2 trailers for the Goemon movie featuring Lupin in black. Yeah, black jacket. It looks cool. More than likely he's wearing this because of the funeral he's attending. Not sure he's gonna keep this look in other Lupin material, but I am surprised seeing Jigen back in green, which I love it. Keep this look forever. Hopefully this movie will eventually be released by Discotech, and I hope it's within the year 2017 and not a year later. Goemon better get the attention he deserves, for he keeps getting shafted for being too Japanese and too overpowered. Oh yeah, I should bring this up. This is why I write things first and then record later. I am gonna do Lupin videos this year because a lot of people are asking me on how to start the series, and rather than giving different answers all the time, I'm gonna really think about this really hard and make a video on what things are important to Lupin, and a different video talking about his characters. And later down the line start doing reviews of the anime series and its films and TV specials. That will give me a good excuse to talk about characters I haven't spoken of yet, being Goemon and Zenigata, as the rest have been mentioned elsewhere. Okay, next Kinnikuman video. Okay, next Kinnikuman, which kind of brought a rebirth or a Kinnikuman renaissance since someone was translating chapters of the 2011 series, aka the current series running in 2017. I would like to go more in detail about this series as a whole, but that's material for another video, or videos. Currently, I've yet to finish my top 10 favorite Kinnikuman characters, which is something on my list of priorities before I do more top 10 lists or other favorite lists. Thankfully, there isn't much to review, but once I get my favorite characters and arcs out of the way, I want to explore the series, probably with the 2011 version, since that's not common knowledge. And it's pretty exciting with how some characters have been. Then again, there's also the possibility of talking about other characters that are not my favorite. Plenty of stuff. So this is why I'm grateful there's a specific holiday when to start making these videos, as the next Kinnikuman Day will be September 29th, 2017, and December 29th, 2017, so yeah, it's giving me a lot of time to prepare some stuff, unlike 2016, which had 3 Kinnikuman days. Actually, I think I want to make a goal in talking about almost every character in the series. Well, I want to do that also with Fist of the North Star and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and speaking of... Okay, going on to JoJo... Okay, now going to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah, I should review the Diamond anime at some point, and of course people want me to talk about Steel Ball Run. I will talk about Steel Balls this year, but I do feel bad not reviewing parts 1, 2, and 3, which will be done on a later date. I'm getting really tired as my arms are cramping up as I'm typing, even my mouth is getting kind of fucked up, and I think I'm just gonna upload this with no edits. I kinda don't know what to say about JoJo at the moment. My favorite parts already happened and I wasn't too excited about part 4. I'm actually more intrigued with part 5 because I'm hoping the action scenes to be as exciting as I felt when I read them. And the same goes for part 6. I really want to see Jolene and Foo Fighters in action, but I can make do with 5, but we'll wait when it comes out. I know I haven't talked about much JoJo outside of reviews, but I kinda want to talk about other things. It's still in my top 5 favorite anime, and I still like it, but the thing is, I'm into a lot of different franchises, so it's hard to please everybody. There's the people who want me to talk about Berserk, and come to think of it, I have not reviewed anything about the series. Other favorites include Sakigake Otokochuku, Coco 13, Space Adventure Cobra, and at least those are the ones with multiple series that I need to talk about, and they're very overdue for reviews. There's also a bit of Blackjack left over, Cutie Honey, a lot of Devilman, that I'm gonna have to update since the recent arrival of more translated material. Ashita no Joe is another big one that I really need to talk about. Rolls of Versailles, of course, that one, and the 60 requests that I have, which will be years before I even get to that. So the challenge is to balance all these different fan bases in ongoing lists of anime reviews or videos, and a bunch of switch and swap. Like, this week Go-Go, next week JoJo, the week after that Cobra, next month Berserk, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, there's Toriko too, because that's finished. It's difficult. So, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I definitely want to spend my time talking about each OVA episode. I want to talk about the characters and maybe take a deeper look in various chapters, or at least mainly in 1, 2, and 3 because that's where all my that's where all my major interests lie. But hey, the reason why I don't think I'll ever quit YouTube is because the anime things I want to do can be comparable to how much money I have to pay in depths. So the last 2 things to make this a perfect 10, which I'll just say this very quickly. Beast Wars might be my favorite animated series. I almost like the entire cast of characters and I haven't felt that way since Fist of the North Star and Kinnikuman. I grew up with the show in the days of Fox Kids and I seen it all with Beast Machines. Or let me rephrase that. I watched Beast Wars and Beast Machines for the first time ever this year, and now I'm watching it again. And the last thing would probably be Kashan, but I'm tired now, so if you're interested in learning about the various other things I got into this year, then watch my 12 Days of Anime 2016. And this is how recording goes when you're talking for 30 minutes straight. Oh boy. That's why it's more fun to make podcasts. You don't feel as tired and you get other people to talk for you. Yay. Oh yeah, I forgot this part. In conclusion, this was a long-ass thank you for those watching. Every year I keep hoping to make it really big with this channel. Just big enough to make this my job or at least get more attention than the suck-up incompetent Watch Mojo Jojo. You know, that channel. That would make me really happy to be better than them. So bye, and hopefully next time I will have a better microphone and everything will turn out smoothly and successful for years to come. Oh yeah, Deadly Hearts, that's the other thing I need to work on. That was a yawn. That ends our broadcast day, night, whatever. Bye bye.